In the world of Ebenezer Scrooge, those who lived only to pursue their own selfish desires seldom had a peaceful transition to the afterlife. In fact, in death, they would often find themselves chained to the mortal realm, desperate to repent, but doomed to an eternal existence tethered to the land of the living. These weary souls eagerly sought out somebody who could help them resolve their pending matters. Only one who could peer into the invisible world of the dead would be so worthy. Ebenezer Scrooge was one such man. Forever changed after his visit from the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and yet to come, his twilight years had taken an unexpected turn. But before we journey through London on Christmas Eve, it's time to give credit where it's due. Thank you to Play on Worlds for sponsoring this video. Orbit Studio has recently launched Ebenezer in the Invisible World on all platforms as of November 3rd. Ebenezer in the Invisible World is a single-player Metroidvania based on the events following Charles Dickens' novel A Christmas Carol. You play as Ebenezer Scrooge, who has the ability to see ghosts. Many of these apparitions still linger in the land of the living, and it's up to Ebenezer to aid them with their pending matters. In return for his assistance, the ghosts grant Ebenezer incredible powers and abilities that allow him to traverse to new areas and face off with increasingly disturbing foes. Not everyone in London is fortunate enough to celebrate the holidays, however. Many have taken to the streets to protest against Caspar Malthus's poor working conditions. Ebenezer will once again journey through the past, present, and future of not himself, but the one responsible for the current state of things. What will he discover when his adventure comes to an end? Well, only time will tell. Ebenezer in the Invisible World is available now on all platforms. If you're looking for the perfect game to get in the Christmas spirit, then be sure to use the links in the description down below. Now, back to the matter at hand. Many apparitions had received word of Scrooge's miraculous transformation, courtesy of the Christmas ghosts, and as such, it was common knowledge that he could see and communicate with ghosts. Eric Fellows, a deceased Navyman desperate to aid a friend in need, pleaded his case before Ebenezer. He explained how the wealthy Malthus family, a heartless lineage of cruel industrialists, sought to subjugate the working class and usher in a new age of prosperity for those of privilege. Headed by Gaius Malthus, a sadistic man with a vision to rid the world of the poor and needy, his master plan was set in motion. However, his life was cut short, and the burden was transferred to his only surviving son, Caspar. Initially, Eric was hopeful that Caspar would forge a new, more pure path for the Malthus family. However, he was sorely mistaken. The kind, loving boy from his childhood was no more. He had become a ruthless tycoon and followed in his father's footsteps pace for pace. 1 year prior, Eric appeared to his old friend Caspar in an attempt to encourage him to reconsider his actions. If he wanted to avoid eternal condemnation, he had to start on the path of redemption immediately. Even the 3 Christmas spirits paid him a visit to steer him in the right direction. However, when he witnessed a decrepit old man fixated on a peculiar device, he couldn't look away. As the old man took his final breaths, unable to rejoice in his victory, Caspar realized he was looking at his future self. Instead of disgust, he felt inspiration. The warnings he had received would fall on deaf ears. Caspar would receive an unexpected visitor that night, one that would cement his father's wishes at the forefront of his mind. Caspar was determined to recreate the invention he saw in his future, certain they would expedite his late father's plans. This infernal mechanism would sever the working class from society and from the mortal coil itself. A year had passed, and Caspar had done the impossible. The invention that had taken him a lifetime to complete in his vision was in the palm of his hands. Eric, still hopeful that his old friend was not yet beyond salvation, charged Ebenezer with obtaining mementos from Caspar's past, present, and future to make him see reason. The first task was to retrieve Caspar's journal from London Observatory. Perhaps it held secrets that would provide some introspection on exactly why he had experienced a change of heart. Scrooge reluctantly left the comforting warmth of his fireplace and set out on his journey. In anticipation of the protests, Caspar had instructed his private guard to patrol the streets and forcefully deal with any resistance. It wasn't long before Ebenezer witnessed this violence firsthand and stepped in to intervene. But his good deed did not go unnoticed. A nearby enforcer witnessed Ebenezer's actions and threatened to report him to the captain, Warren Gastrell. Unfazed, Ebenezer continued onwards towards the observatory. Along the way, he encountered several friendly apparitions in need of assistance. He gladly obliged, and in return he gained new allies to aid him in his quest. It wasn't long before Captain Gastrell made a personal appearance to deal with Ebenezer. However, despite his age, Scrooge was quite skilled with his cane, not to mention his steadily growing army of apparitions to boot. The battle ended just as quickly as it had begun, and the captain assured Ebenezer that they would meet again. The London Observatory was truly a sight to behold. Home to some of the best equipment for stargazing and a massive library of books on exploration, astronomy, and more, Ebenezer and company certainly had their work cut out for them. Fortunately, the Christmas spirits were willing to help and lend their aid on this treacherous night. Ebenezer trudged onwards in search of the journal, but to no avail. Eventually, Eric suggested that he locate Haley Hall, an old friend of Casper's who would certainly know the location of his journal. When they found her, she was eager to lend her assistance to save an old friend. She led them to the journal in hopes that they could better understand the inner turmoil that had changed Casper into the man he was today. They learned that he resented his mother Lillian because he believed her love for him was only a false pretense meant to hinder him from achieving his goals. After the untimely death of Casper's older brother, Lillian was committed to the Bedlam Asylum for treatment. Ebenezer and crew suspected that there was something amiss, so they headed directly to the madhouse in search of answers. When they arrived, they were shocked to find that the rumors were true. Many of the patients and prisoners had been subjected to all manner of mistreatment. The Bedlam Madman was one such victim. Thought to be an urban legend, this poor soul had been on the receiving end of endless torture and unethical experimentation. In a fit of rage, he blindly attacked Ebenezer, who was forced to put him out of his misery. The crew finally located Lillian despite the labyrinthian nature of the asylum. Her haggard appearance was a testament to her dire condition, but upon hearing the name of her beloved son Casper, she was quick to ask about his well-being and if he had received her letters over the years. She explained that her eldest son Victor had been chosen to carry on the Malthus family legacy, and that Gaius had regarded Casper as nothing more than a weakling. However, when Victor was unexpectedly killed in a freak artillery accident, things had changed. Gaius would immediately begin grooming Casper as a replacement and send off his grieving wife to Bedlam Asylum to prevent her from interfering with his plans. Despite her greatest efforts, she was unable to convince the staff to send her letters to Casper, which further supported Gaius's false claims that Lillian had abandoned her youngest son. She tasked Ebenezer to locate the letters and deliver them to Casper to prove her love for him and reveal the truth about his father's deception. Ebenezer obliged. When he located the letters, he thought of a plan. He realized that, in his possession, he held a memento from the present. If he could obtain something of similar value from the past and future, their chances of reaching Casper's heart would surely be a possibility. Eric suggested that Victor, Casper's older brother, would hold the key to the next memento. However, it would not be an easy task. They would have to travel to Necropolis, which was a nexus for only the most unrepentant of souls. Together they made their way into the underworld. When they found Victor, he was as disillusioned as ever. He thought of himself as the scion of the Malthus destiny and ruler over all that his eyes could see. It was up to Ebenezer to humble this foolish warrior and make him see reason. After an epic battle, Victor still refused to come to his senses. It was only after seeing his meager gravesite and his prize medals trashed that he realized the truth. His mother had done everything in her power to ensure he had a proper burial against Gaius's wishes. Despite his undying loyalty to his father, Victor's sacrifices meant nothing. The moment he died, his accomplishments and even his memory were forgotten and discarded like rubbish. After learning this, Victor allowed Ebenezer to take his medals as a memento for what his younger brother's future could hold. Haley suggested that the crew return to the London Observatory for the final memento. When they were children, they would often spend hours inside mapping out their plans to explore every corner of the world. There was one special map in particular they had signed along with renowned explorers who had sacrificed much to discover the uncharted. This childhood dream of theirs motivated them to never give up on their dreams. But would it be enough to reach Casper's heart? Ebenezer and company returned to the observatory and located the map. Their journey was near its end. The final step was confronting Casper himself at the Malthus Factory. With his army of apparitions, Scrooge stormed the factory. Inside, they confronted Captain Warren Gastrell yet again, But this time he wasn't alone. He was accompanied by the finest of the Malthus private guard. But despite his firepower, he was unable to stop the old man on a mission. After activating a series of generators to unlock a massive barrier, Ebenezer finally reached Caspar Malthus. After exchanging insults, Ebenezer began to show Caspar each of the mementos he had collected throughout the night. With each new revelation, Caspar was shocked to learn the truth of his alleged destiny and his true role behind the family legacy. His existence had only served to further the ambitions of his deranged father. Amidst all the commotion, Gaius appeared and turned to violence in an attempt to snuff out the truth. Ebenezer and his ghostly companions fought with all their might, and just when they thought they were victorious, Gaius revealed his true form. Just as he was in life, he was an absolute monster in death. After dealing the final blow, Ebenezer realized that Gaius's evil knew no bounds. He targeted Lillian with his incredibly sharp talons and wounded her gravely. Caspar, invigorated with his newfound purpose, fought desperately to fend off his father's relentless assault, but it was not enough. His mother had left this mortal realm. Infuriated, he swung his cane, but his father was too powerful. Suddenly, his mother's spirit appeared and blinded Gaius, leaving a brief window of opportunity to end this once and for all. In one final onslaught, Ebenezer, alongside his apparitions, started their barrage. As if it were poetic irony, it was Gaius' sons who dealt the killing blows, forever banishing his evil spirit from the land of the living. Ebenezer would look on in approval, as Caspar now held the power of his own destiny in the palm of his hands, free of the tainted influence of his father's deranged desires. The people were in need of a savior, and it was time for someone of privilege to roll up their sleeves and extend their hand in a show of peace and future prosperity for all. And that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me know you want more content just like this. Click on these videos on screen to continue your journey, and I'll be there to guide you when you arrive. Consider becoming a member for exclusive perks like emojis, members-only videos, and more. Or check out my Ko-fi or Patreon page if you just want to support me in a more personal way. Until next time, it's the Inhuman One signing out. Join the Inhuman community today.